Hey guys, welcome back. Alright, in this episode I'll be showing you how to build a Colorbond fence on top of a retaining wall. Now if you've seen my previous video, I built the retaining wall between my neighbours and myself. It's 40 metres and now it's time to put the fence on top. So the fence I'm building is going to be 1.8 high. Now I'm going to be starting at the front of the property but 2 bays in, and I'll explain why when I get up there. And then when I get down to my shed it steps down 200 mil. Anyway, it's freezing cold out here. It's a little bit windy, but it is a nice day. So let's get into it. All right, so what I'm going to do first, before I put these posts on, I'm going to be spray painting this the colour of the fence. So it only has to be this side because you don't see the back side, because that's what the post is going to sit up. So what I'm going to do is just put a piece of cardboard around here. We've got the same colour as the paint, and go along and just paint all these. Right, so next up, I've sprayed all the shark fins. That's all ready to go. Now, next is to make the posts. I have 2 each post. These get screwed back to back together. You need a total of 8 screws in my scenario. So I've got the shark fin. So what I'm doing is I'm from the bottom starting up 350, because that's just above the shark fin, where I'm going to be screwing this post to the shark fin later. So I don't want them to interfere with the shark fin coming up. What I've done, from the top, I've come down 70 millimeters to your first screws, and then I've got 2 more, which is just even between the 350 and the top 70 millimeter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up here. I've got my post that I've already made, so I can use it as a guide. All right, I'm going to start with one in the top first, and then I'm going to move back down the bottom, because that just helps align the top. You don't want to put the other screw in just in case it's not aligned. Making sure that's nice. Line up our screws, 350. And now we can go through and screw it all off. Like I say, as you can see, I've gone down 70 millimeters from the top, and then I've got another 2 screws which split the difference between the bottom one and the top one. So I've allowed 350 here, and what I'll do is show you now why I've come up that far and not down here. Now, if these are in just concrete in the ground as the posts, you'll probably come 50 millimeters up, and then another 50 millimeters for your bottom rail. So what I'll do is I'll show you why I'm at this position. All right, so this post here slides straight down. I get this screwed off. Now you can see why I've come up this high, so it misses this plate. And then what I'm going to do is on the other side, I'm screwing 6 screws into this shark fin, which will hold this nice and steady. All right, so the screws that I'm using, now these are supplied by wherever you sort of get your, whoever your supplier is. They usually give you some screws, but they are pre-painted into the color of the fence that you choose as well. Also, you can actually pick these up as Bunnings or your local hardware, usually pre-colored too, so the Colorbond fence. They are, here we go, 10 gauge screw, 16 millimeter self-drillers. Alright, time to put the first post on. Now, I've got a bigger screw. I'm using pretty much the same screw, but it's a 10 gauge, or actually it's 12 gauge, sorry. So it's a little bit bigger. Now, originally I would have liked to sit them all on top of these posts. Now I know that all my posts are dead level, so I don't have to worry about leveling all my posts and getting them to the right height. I just also need to double check when I do my rails. But some of these sleepers are sticking up a little bit higher than this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack up all the posts 10 mil off the top of the steel post, so I know that they're all dead level. So that way it just gives me some clearance and an air gap underneath here as well. Alright, so next up, I've got my bottom rail in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flush the bottom rail to the bottom of this post. So I know that's going to clear, it's going to give me a nice air gap under there as well, and also give me the right length of sheet for the top rail. So all I'm going to do now is TEC screw these bottom rails either side, down the bottom. Time to put in the first panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw the top rail off at one side, and then I'm going to work my way along with the sheets, and then I can screw off the other side. Right, so that was a little bit difficult with all the wind, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check to make sure that we are plumb on this style, and then work along the other side, make sure that's plumb, and then I can screw the top off, and that'll make it nice and rigid. Alright, so we're on to the part where it steps down 200 down in my shed. So what I'm doing is I'm setting this first style 200 lower, and then I'm going to screw it off exactly the same as I did before. And then what I need to do is I just actually have to grind out the bottom of this post down here before I screw it on. Alright, so as you can see, this is the issue I got here. So you can see the gap there and the steps. So what I need to do is just knock out the back of this post here so it slides down, ends up nice and flush, and then the bottom post will actually keep that nice and rigid, and it steps down to this one. Right, so I'm down the back of the property here on the corner. Now this is the transition where it's going to head back to my back fence. Now I've got a 50 by 50 post which will slip over this, but I do need to make this a little bit skinnier. So I've got to trim either side of this so the post will slip over, TEC screw it from the outside, then I can have my style screw to that post. Right, this next bay I need to cut in, so it's going to be probably 2 full panels and a little slither, but I will overlap it a couple of joints as well. So what I'll do is I'll cut these bottom stiles to length first, and then we can put the first 2 panels in and work out what the next sheet has to be cut down to. Alright, so we're up to the front here and we're going to do this one a little bit different. So this one here is not going to be 1800, we're going to slope it down probably to about 1500 to 18. So, and this front post here I'm going to bolt on just so it's a little bit neater from the front and just paint the bolts out. So what I'll do is I'll set this post up first and then I can work out the heights of the other one. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I've laid out 3 sheets and I've worked out what I need to cut the sort of middle style, and I'm going to go from 0 up here and then trim the top. So what I'll do is I'll put them all together, make sure they're all neat, and then I can just draw a line and go ahead and cut them. Alright, so I'm going to cut this with the game grinder. Preferably you want to cut this with nibblers, but I don't have nibblers. So I'm just going to cut with the end grinder, just make sure the swarf off the grinder doesn't land on the sheets or anything like that. Fence is done. Okay guys, that's it for this video. The Colorbond fence and retaining wall is finally complete. It looks absolutely fantastic, a lot more privacy, and so happy how it came out. Anyway, I hope you took something from this video and you actually learned something, and it would help you out if you guys wanted to tackle this for yourself at home. Anyway, if you did like it, hit that like, hit the subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.